Welcome back, everybody, to the Centimeter Perfect podcast, just the tips edition right here on YouTube, exclusive to YouTube. That is Jesse. I am Liam. You can catch us at CMPerfect_AFL on YouTube, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Instagram. That's it. But you can find us there. Please come and find us. Like, share, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. Jesse, how are you feeling about this week's tips, mate?
Oh, that's how I'm feeling about them. This is a hard round. And you know what? If it was just normal tipping, I feel like I'd be okay. I'm like,
Sure.
okay, yep, whatever, done them, happy days. But with confidence points, Liam, that changes things a little bit because there's a bit of tactics and skullduggery that needs to go in to picking these tips and making sure that you're not beating me.
Yet. Well, we'll find out if I am in just a second. But what are confidence points, Jesse? How do we tip here?
Well, confidence points are a way to diversify the usual footy tipping landscape in a standard 9-match round. We have confidence points to assign, from 1 being our team that we think is going to win, but on the lower end of confidence for them to do so, up to 9 points, which means this might be 2007 Geelong against 2025 West Coast. This is what we could be seeing out of this game. Whoever has the most amount of points at the end of the season will be declared the footy tipping champion for the Centimeter Perfect AFL podcast. And Liam,
Yes.
I do think on the tip front last week you might have outshone me a little bit, but how did we go in confidence points?
Well, Jesse, you'd be very happy to know that my early round dominance was nullified by yourself and your late round Sunday tipping confidence points. We tied 31 points each. 31 points a pop. Look at you, little face. You're smiling. Look at you. Look how happy you are.
My back hurts from carrying this competition again.
He's been leading for 2 weeks and he's gone crazy. 189 for me, 194 for Jesse. He maintains his 5-point lead. I was really hopeful. I thought I was doing really well.
I thought you had me on toast in the first game of the round because that was the only tip we differed on.
I'm pretty sure I was 5 points ahead going into Sunday, but I think there was one. I think it was the Gold Coast Sydney game. I had 1, you had 6, and
yeah, we had a huge swing on Dogs Giants as well. I'm pretty sure.
That's right. So that's where the confidence points comes into play. Jesse was stone cold on Sydney, and it came through for him. Stone cold. But enough about that. Let's move on to round 8 tips, Jesse. Let's kick off with Thursday Night Footy.
Thursday night begins at Marvel Stadium with another Bombers blockbuster. Another primetime game for this Essendon side. So happy for them. They take on North Melbourne. Both sides coming in off a loss. North Melbourne coming in off a lot of losses. Now, Liam, you lost. Well, technically, no one lost last week, but you carry the most recent loss in confidence points. So you get to
I was thrashed 2 weeks ago. Utterly thrashed.
Yeah, you were.
I was.
You get to decide here whether I start or whether you start. What would you prefer?
I'll go first. I'll go first this week. Why not? Just for schnitz and giggle. Yeah, this is a tough one because despite what the form ladder says, 3 wins for the Bombers in the last 5 and nothing for the Kangas, I still feel like the Kangas are going to get this one. Look at the Kangas with 2 little cheeky points. I think that they've been showing some signs of just breaking through one team, like we said in our main show proper. If you want to go listen to that. They kind of dangle that carrot in front of us a lot, the Kangas. They go, "Oh, look what we can do. We can do all this good stuff," and they just completely capitulate the following week. I don't think they're going to capitulate this week. I think the Kangas are going to get up. 2 confidence points, the Kangas for me, Jesse.
I'm with you, Liam, in every sense. Kangaroos with 2 for me as well. I don't know with Essendon, and their best is probably good enough to beat North, but I also don't really think they've had too many off nights apart from West Coast. And that almost ended completely badly. But my point with that being, I don't think their best is that good. Sure. And I don't think we've seen their worst that often. If we do see an off night from them, I think they're in trouble here. 2 points to North for me. I think they can surprise here early on.
Let's go to the next game. Friday.
St Kilda hosting Fremantle under the bright lights of Marvel Stadium. This does scream Marvel, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
This is the definition of Marvel Stadium. This is actually what they built the stadium to do.
An actual Friday night game for the Dockers, though, that isn't an Anzac Day.
St Kilda.
What's up with that? We'll take it. Why not?
I'm up first here. Fremantle with 3. I really can't go any higher than that with the Dockers at the moment. Ross would love a win here. You know he would. I don't know with Fremantle. I still think that travel's a big issue.
Yeah.
For the footy club at the moment, especially travel to Victoria. I mean, you only need to look as far back as a fortnight ago to see the wheels fall off there. St Kilda, they're coming in off through disappointing losses. Ross clearly has had enough of some of the lack of standards. I get the sense it's going to be a tough week on the track for St Kilda. Also get the sense they're going to have to respond to Ross's urging. So a little bit wary of where the Saints are going to be this season. And also, Fremantle don't have a lockdown small defender. Higgins could easily kick 6 or 7 on Friday night because if they put Draper on him, who is not a defender of small forwards, could be all she wrote. So Fremantle with 3, but very wary, Liam. What about you?
Yeah, well, this was a tough one to put the tips on this week. I've gone Fremantle as well. I've ended up with 5 because that's kind of where my tips lay. It's hard to disagree with anything you've just said, Jesse. My microphone has left. 1 second. Dockers going to want to back up what they did against the Crows on Friday. And how they played that game of footy. That said, oh my word, everyone's getting some behind-the-scenes footage as me adjusting my microphone live on YouTube. How fun for you. They're going to want to back up how they played. And they don't travel overly well, and they play Marvel. They've been playing Marvel better the last couple of years, but...
Is the word dreadfully appropriate to describe the way Fremantle play Marvel?
It used to be. They've turned it around a little bit in the last couple of years. But yeah, 5 is probably too high, but I'm hopeful. It's a hopeful 5, Jesse. Now that I've got this microphone set up, we're good to go to the next game.
Well, let's jump into some Saturday morning football. Western Bulldogs hosting Port Adelaide in the bright lights of Ballarat. Isn't that going to be a fun drive for everyone involved? Surely Port could just drive that too. I suppose it's not unachievable. Maybe a Rex flight or something.
Beauty.
Pop on over. Liam, you're up first here. Who are you siding with?
Ballarat's a bit of a funny one. The wind kind of does play a factor. You would hope that the Bulldogs are going to keep doing what they've been doing. And I hope that too. Bulldogs with 7 for me. I think they are the better side at the moment. They're playing really good footy that people love to watch. And the Power are weird. So I think the Power could very easily just turn around and be like, yeah, this is the game. Yeah, I'm going to do well this game. I don't think so, though. Bulldogs with 7 for me.
Bulldogs with 8 for me. I struggle to see Port Adelaide winning this game, to be totally honest. I don't think pound for pound, especially inside that midfield battle, they can beat the Dogs. Dogs are making hay while the sun is shining at the moment. They've got fit players back. They're looking the goods. If they continue to dominate clearances the way they are, there's no reason to tip against them.
Yep, fair shout. Let's move on to the next game.
Next up is Adelaide hosting Carlton of the Adelaide Oval. This game also feels like it's always played at the Adelaide Oval. We'll talk about that in the main show about Port North. This always feels like an Adelaide Oval game as well. I'm going with the Crows here. I'm going Crows with 7. I know Carlton won against Geelong on Sunday. Good for them. Crows have an 8-day break. Carlton have a 6-day break. Crows are good. Carlton, not really that good. And I think
3 on the trot, Jesse. 3 on the trot. He's calling them not good.
I think the Crows need to respond after their loss to Fremantle, and they responded after their loss to Geelong.
Yeah, sure.
I think we might see a similar fact here, and also Adelaide Oval. They play that ground so well.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if Carlton came out with a win here, Liam. But what about you?
Yeah, Adelaide with 4 for me. Probably should have more on that, but I think it's weird. Crows coming off a loss against the Dockers didn't play overly convincing. Blues coming off a massive win where they played probably the best footy they've played in some time. If all things stay the same, then obviously it's an easy Carlton win. But like you said, Adelaide Oval, the Crows will bounce back. If the Blues want to make this interesting, then yeah, back it up. I'd love to see it. Make it happen. But Adelaide with 4 for me. Jesse, let's move on to the next game, which should be a cracker.
This absolutely should be. Collingwood hosting Geelong for some Saturday night footy. This has the potential to be game of the season here. Liam, you're up first. Who are you siding with?
I'm siding with Collingwood.
Okay.
I think if this was at Goomba, GMHBA, I might.
You could have been swayed.
Could have been swayed. But Collingwood are a team at the moment that you just can't really tip against them. They seem like they're too good across the board. I've gone high. I've got Collingwood with 6.
Okay.
the Cats are very good, but I don't know, man. Like at the moment, this Magpies team is formidable. I think they're going to beat a lot of the teams put in front of them at the moment. And if the Cats bounce back, much with the last game, if the Cats bounce back from last week's effort and do what we know they can do, this could be a very, very close and interesting match. But Pies with 6 for me.
Pies with 5 for me. I echo a lot of your sentiments, Liam, across the board there. Geelong need to respond, and I think we'll see a hungry Geelong side on Saturday night. But while Collingwood are in the form they're in, clearly, I think with more to come. And what I like about Collingwood is they're not reliant on single players. They've had different players step up at various points of the season and impact the game both in the midfield and up forward. That's a key to a successful team. Having these impact players rotate through. You don't need Nick Dacos to be perfect every game. Pendles can have an off night. You can have Bobby Hill go anonymous for a game and then come back and kick 3 the next week, and it's just the same old Collingwood in terms of kicking goals. That's what you want for good sides. I think they can get the job done here.
So much so that even with McStay out for an extended period of time, I'm not too worried. Not too worried. Next game, Jesse.
We go from game of the season to West Coast hosting Melbourne at Optus Stadium on Saturday night. If you're not a West Coast fan, a Melbourne fan, or a West Australian, I would love to know the percentage of people that are going to choose to watch this game on the KO feed over the Geelong Collingwood game. Even some of those fans may be jumping over to the other feed. I'm tipping first here. Melbourne with 1, and I really didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
But West Coast are winless. West Coast have been quite bad. They had a real chance against the Bombers a fortnight ago and couldn't see it out. So even when they've been close, they've managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. They're going to have to win eventually. And this is one of those games they absolutely could and maybe should at home. But you wish that if you're a West Coast fan, that the fixtures between Freo and Freo and West Coast was swapped playing Melbourne. You don't want to be playing them coming off 2 wins, starting to find their feet, getting their senior players back in form. That's really bad timing for the Eagles. I don't know if they're going to win it, but Melbourne are also quite bad themselves. West Coast at home, if they can get that part of their game right, the Eagles, they can win this.
I toyed with it. And then I thought, no. No.
He's already winning by enough confidence points. No freebies.
I got Melbourne with 3.
Okay.
I'm Melbourne with 3 because, like you said, a lot of the players coming back, a lot of them starting to find some form. They're gaining a bit of confidence. They're 2 on the trot. It's just hard to see where the Eagles are going to find their winners. And while they're at home and they play a slightly better brand at home, it's hard to see where that comes from, Jesse. It's hard to see where it comes from. And that outweighs what Melbourne have done in the last 2 weeks. So Melbourne with 3 for me. Let's move on to the next game.
Get your Sunday morning coffee out. It is the Battle of the Bridge between Sydney and Greater Western Sydney here, Liam. Both sides, I think, desperate for wins for various reasons. Who are you siding with here in this traditional New South Wales rivalry?
It's another one I toyed with, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Only for a second, because I was just like, the Swans have to do it, right? Because in your head, you're like, it's the Swans. The Swans are definitely going to turn this around. They're going to find some form. That's going to make it happen. Giants with 6. Because, again, it's even though the Giants are 2 losses in a row, you can see where their positives are. You can see where their winners are. And it's hard to see that with the Swans at the moment. I think this is actually a really gettable one for the Swans, even though they're on a run of 3 losses themselves. It's the SCG. It's a weird ground. It's so small. And sometimes that is a bit of an X factor. But the Giants, I think it is going to be too good for them on the day. Giants with 6. Jesse.
I tried going as high as Giants with 9 here, but they're just not in good form. So it's Giants with 6 for me as well. We're playing this to a draw, Liam. I really don't see how Sydney can win this game the way they're playing. They're not scoring. They're not defending. The Giants aren't really doing either, but I feel like they have more scoring output than Sydney do. I think it may just simply come down to that. And Sydney just consistently fade out of games. Giants were fast finishers last week. They have seen out 4 quarters reasonably strongly across the season, even when things haven't gone their way. I don't see Sydney winning this. In hindsight, I probably should have gone higher than the 6.
Hindsight's a beautiful thing, Jesse. It's a beautiful thing. Let's move on to the second last game of the round.
Hawthorn hosting Richmond at the MCG, two Victorian sides. Coming off some mixed form for both teams. Both one win in their last two. Flipped in the order. Liam, I'm up first here. Hawthorn with 9. Not actually the most confident 9 I've ever given out because, I do think Richmond are
It's the Tigers.
building something.
It's the Tigers.
But Hawks, they need to be winning these games if they're going to be taken seriously. So I put 9 on them. Liam, what about you?
Yeah, Hawks with 9 for me as well, Jesse. Echo your sentiment. Like, the Tigers are a bit of an X-Factor team this year, which is always fun to see. But yes, I agree with you. If the Hawks are going to be taken any sort of seriously for the rest of this year, this just has to be a win. Let's move on to the last game of the round, which should be, Jesse. I felt weird this week, by the way. I'll put the game up here. But I felt weird because Sunday footy felt like it was done so early this Sunday. Like, I had time to watch 2 episodes of The Last of Us once it was done. But we're back here with some Sunday evening footy.
5:20 Perth time.
I know.
That's 7:20 for our friends on the East Coast.
They got a public holiday on the Monday, so it's fine.
Oh, good for them. Brisbane hosting Gold Coast in the most important Q clash of all time. Two sides desperate to stamp their supremacy on Queensland. This does feel like the derbies around 2006.
Yeah.
Where both sides are firing. You got the young Bucks versus the old Bulls. Who are you siding with here, Liam? Because this should be a cracker.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Gold Coast with 1.
Oh, you madman! you young buck.
I love a good young buck. They're exciting. It's fun to watch. What's fun to watch the Suns doing what they're doing at the moment, and what better way to get a big old scalp than taking out their I was about to say cross city, not even cross city, cross state rivals. They're about an hour apart.
One long highway.
It's one long highway.
I wonder if Gold Coast are going to fly and use the Coolangatta Airport.
You love the Coolangatta Airport.
I do love the Coolangatta Airport.
You love it.
So efficient.
Again, first time listeners, apologies for Jesse's love of the Coolangatta Airport.
I wish you had kept the clips so you could do like a cut like the best of Jesse's ramblings about the Coolangatta Airport.
Pretty sure I still have it. But no, it's but no, I think this will be an interesting game. And I'm tipping based on what I want to see in this one, more than what I think is going to happen. But yeah, Suns with 1. Go on, make it happen, you cowards. Jesse, I'm going to put Brisbane next to your name. What say you?
Lions with 4.
Yep.
If Gold Coast were fast starters, the tip would be different. But they're not. I don't know if they could expose the Lions' Achilles heel, which is Lions' inability to start games.
So they're
both sides don't start well.
Right.
I think if you're going to beat Brisbane, you have to get the jump on them. I haven't really seen Gold Coast do that this year against good sides. They've beaten up, West Coast with a fast start, but I don't know if they can do this. They were very slow out of the gates against Richmond. They were very slow out of the gates against Sydney in the last fortnight. Eventually, Brisbane are going to have to play out 4 quarters. This might be the game for them to do it. Gold Coast aren't fast starters. If they can get control early, use that experience, use the home ground advantage. I think, unfortunately, as much as it'd be awesome to see Gold Coast and the young Bucks get a scalp, I do think it's the old Bulls here, Lamb. Lions with 4.
Honestly, it's either going to be one of 2 things, Jesse. Suns by 3 points or the Lions by 67. And that's pretty much where it's going to be, I reckon.
And that reflects our confidence points too, doesn't it? Narrow win, reasonable win.
Exactly right. And across the board this week, Jesse, pretty interesting tips, pretty interesting points. I think this week is going to be more about the losses if teams don't get them as to how these points are going to shake
5
out.
point swing here, to be fair.
It's big. It's pretty big. That's all, Jesse. Send the lovely people home.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our Just the Tips edition of the 7 Minute Perfect AFL podcast. Get your tips in down below in the comments. Let us know who you're confident and not confident in winning across the week. Make sure you tell your friends, tell your family, tell the local community centre. Just stick a notice on the community notice board saying this is the best podcast you listen to. I'm sure no one will give you a weird look. Until next time, enjoy your footy weekend, and we'll see you soon on the 7 Minute Perfect AFL podcast.
Bye, everybody.